Hey everyone, Dan Tortora here for another edition of Who's Got Next inside a Gamepoint Sports Complex that exclusively brings you this segment on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can come here to 211 South Center Street in East Syracuse to get your basketball on, your volleyball, your floor hockey, your field hockey, cheerleading, and more. I am here with a good friend of mine of many years, Mr. Lazarus Sims, and we are on the heels of Gerry McNamara being named the new head coach. He wore number 3, Gerry wore number 3, so I think I got to shout out the threes out there.
Yeah.
How are you,
Syracuse
Lazarus?
is 3 Nation, 315.
That's right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm wonderful.
So, Lazarus, before we get into Gerry, you've been here, you've been working with Gamepoint, and your role's kind of expanded here with Jim Dispenza at Gamepoint Sports Complex. Let people know what you're doing, because you got the Z360, and you're also helping out kind of overall with this complex.
Yeah, well, working with Jim has been a great experience, moving back. So working with him, I'm doing basketball operations and trying to make Syracuse more flourish and more fluid in basketball and playing programming and tournaments and events in here. So we've been getting that going. Eric Devendorf's been in here. We got Brandon Trish coming in the building. So my role is just to reprise that basketball aspect for him and to try to streamline it and make sure the product looks good and stays good.
Yeah, and when you talk about streamlining it, having things be fluid and having the opportunity to have parallels between tournaments, parallels between who's coming in, how do you bring that all together? How do you make everything kind of have a template that flows from one thing to another?
Well, it goes back from playing days, coaching days. You know what it looks like and you know what it want to look like. So almost in the sense where they say all money ain't good money. So all people who come in or reach out and want to do tournaments, we want to see what they've done before, what it looks like. We want to make sure we bring good product, the best refs we can, the best games we can, the more competitive, because you don't want lopsided events in here when people, those words spread. So to streamline it is to make sure we do our research on who's coming in, what product is coming in, and make sure it's a good product for us. Z360,
how's it going? I know you posted some stuff, tagged me on some things. I share it when I see it, so how's it going?
It's going well. Last weekend we just did our community service where we fed the homeless in Syracuse City with Sandwich Saturdays where we rise above the streets. So everyone in my program our mantra is it's not about basketball. Basketball is going to be basketball. I'm teaching young men and young women how to navigate through life. So the Z360 is for full circle, coming back to your roots, and how you treat people is how you receive it, right? So I want to teach these young men and young women every day when they come in our building or when they come work with me to get better than when they were there. So I started off with one team with my youngest son. Now I got 4 teams, and we got tryouts on April 4th for a girls team and another boys team. So we're going to end up with this year having 6 teams, which is, I got into it just to be with him and do things with him. And now, like I said, we just talked about product. People see us at tournaments and like, oh, I want to get my son with you, not just training, but I want to get him in your program. So again, going back to it, like all my kids, they have notebooks. And after each tournament, I give them a word or a quote, and they got to go research it and come back to me and tell me what it meant. So they got to write it down. So they're doing more than just sports.
Well, I mean, and I was going to get into that with you. Why call it 360? And you just said it. Like you're bringing everything full circle for these kids. And there's a purpose to what you're doing, feeding the homeless, having them know what it's like to reach out to someone, and how, whatever you give is what you eventually get. Having them have these notebooks with the words to learn something, think on it, let it marinate, come back to you. You're asking them to be good human beings, not just a good basketball player.
Exactly. And I grew up in the parks. I grew up in the Syracuse parks, and people were good to me. You think of the South Side, people think of Syracuse City Parks and the rough, and it was rough through love. So I'm teaching these kids not to be young players. I train them as just basketball players. If I was training a college player, a high school player, like elementary school player, I train them the same. I go hard with them. So I teach them through love and strength and consistency, so that these kids, when they see it, they'll know what it looked like, but they'll know how to react to it and navigate through it.
When you help the homeless, which is something that is very important to me, what was that experience like for you and the kids?
It was surreal because it was crazy because when I brought it up to them, I was like, all right, we're doing our community today this weekend, and we're going to feed the homeless. They wanted to bring their friends. The families came, the parents, the little siblings, and we started off, we went at, which is, almost full circle again. I started at St. Anthony's, but my middle school was at Lincoln, so we met at Lincoln, and we made sandwiches, we packed bagged lunches. So they were able to get to Lincoln, prepare the lunches and the sandwiches for the people, and then put them together. Then we went out to the site, and we formed a line of tables, and we passed out. That feeling after the fact, the parents and the kids text back like, that's the best experience ever. We need to do it again. So when you give, it's not as much for the person you're giving to, but it's also for your soul. So it was a soul cleansing day for them too. It was an inner spiritual cleansing day for them to understand. And we talk about this in our basketball, that it's not just about you.
Yeah.
It can't be about you. And if everybody is focused on their teammates and making each other better and making the world better, the world's going to be better, and the game's going to look better. So basketball, if you treat people the same way in life, your game's going to get better. The game's going to get better just because of who you are and what you're coming in, and it's pure.
I mean, I don't even have a question. I just want to say thank you for doing that.
No, I appreciate you.
I really do. I appreciate that. So let's get into Gerry.
Still, elephant in the room.
The decision's been made.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking to a buddy on the way in here. He was like, man, you were talking about this for a while. And I said, yeah, it's been on my mind. I shared my thoughts publicly. I shared my reasoning publicly. I spoke about it a lot. And it was hard for me because I'm close to Adrian,
mm-hmm.
and I'm close to Gerry. And I've known Adrian for a long time, over, I think, at least 12 years, and I met Gerry in 2008.
Okay.
So you and I both know this side that a lot of people that are watching this don't see, which is we know the people.
Right.
So we don't look at it like, oh, shift in, shift out. These aren't human beings with families and personalities and feelings and thoughts.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there going, I feel bad for Adrian. I'm hopeful for Gerry. The last thing I did with Adrian was he came off at the ACC tournament in Charlotte. He came off the dais after I'd asked him a question, media talked to him, and I went off to the side. I hugged him and I said, I love you. And because I just knew. And I wanted him to know that.
And he kind of knew.
Right. You know? And then at the same time, I've been pushing, even though Brian Hodgson at the University of South Florida at the time and Josh Schertz of St. Louis, my sources very close to the situation telling me like these names were up, these people were in conversations. Mm-hmm. I kept saying, in my opinion, it's got to be Gerry. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts?
For me, it was taking the feelings out of it, because again, I know both of them. I played with Red, was on staff with Red for his first few years, and then was on staff with Gerry while he was a grad assistant turning into staff, and also was around when he was a player. So I've known them on the court, off the court, families, everything. So for me, it was take the feelings out of it. It wasn't being a fan where everybody's going, oh, Jerry's going to be the best one because we saw him in 2003. No, his version, he's matured as a coach. I've watched his maturation as from a grad assistant helping Hop to being an assistant to running the guards groups in practice to now, watching from afar, watching him and Ryan and AO do their thing at Siena and hoping for Red's success as well as his success. The hard part was watching Red lose it and him still grow. And for me, it was when everybody was talking about who should be the next coach. I always thought it should be in-house. Yeah. I'll say that. I had three guys in mind. I had Hop, Jason Hart, and Gerry. Those are still guys coaching, right? Yeah. So my thing more was whoever gets it, Syracuse has to put support with them. I don't feel Adrian had that support fully. I don't feel he was given the tools or the ingredients in the cabinet to make a good product. And then how good is a product going to be after a Hall of Famer? Anyway, Syracuse has been spoiled to 20 wins, 25 wins for 40 plus years. So unless you surpass that, which is almost impossible in this day of NIL, you see it at North Carolina, you see it at Duke, you see it at even the Duke success. He's not doing what Krzyzewski's done. So it's going to be hard. It was hard for Adrian to match that and to get approval from all the people that saw what Boeheim did. So that was bittersweet. But now, moving forward, I'm definitely happy that it stayed in the house, that Gerry has it. I'm hoping that he comes in with what he had there. He's a feisty dude, so that's not ever going to change. So that's not going to change. But I'm just hoping Syracuse, the university, opens up and supports him how he needs to be successful.
Yeah, you brought up a bunch of points in that, and when you talked about the cupboard being bare, not having a lot in there, I hope you don't mind that. I mean, off the air, you're like, they gave him pepper, and I'm sitting there thinking the same thing. Like, he had salt and pepper, he didn't have any other spices, and
can't make a meal with that.
No, and when you and I both know if you don't season your food right, I'm not eating it. So
right.
For the Hall of Fame coach that Jim Boeheim is and will always be, like you said, anybody that came after him, it was not going to be an easy road.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like, let's not do Gerry, let's wait, put this guy in here, happens to be Adrian, and now look at Gerry's the savior. But it's just, for me, I feel really bad for Adrian, because anybody, if it was Hop, if it was Adrian, if it was Jason Hart, if it was Gerry, if it was whoever, coming after Boeheim. Look at Hubert Davis after Roy Williams. John Shire after Coach K is really the only one that's worked.
Yeah.
Because when you look at all these other schools that I've covered, it's like you take a Hall of Fame guy, Jay Wright, the guy that comes in after Jay Wright, he's there 3 seasons, gets fired.
Right.
So, I've been around multiple programs interviewing these coaches that came after Hall of Famers, and it didn't work out.
Right.
So, I don't know what people were expecting to happen, but some people wanted Boeheim gone so bad, and I look back on 47 years and I say, what did he not make the tournament like 9 times? I look at 20 to 25 win seasons, constantly going to the NCAA tournament, a Final Four in 4 straight decades, 5 overall Final Fours, the runner-up in national championship games more than once, a national champion. The reason why anywhere that I go in this world and wear Syracuse anything, people know what Syracuse, New York is.
Right.
So what is Syracuse, New York? Not the school, not the team. What is Syracuse, New York without Jim Boeheim? And then I got to sit there and watch the student section say, F you, Boeheim.
Right.
I don't get that.
And that's like you said, let's go back off camera, you said these are kids that
They weren't even alive.
Didn't see it.
They weren't even alive.
Didn't see his era, didn't see his work.
No.
You're just going off of, okay, the year you came in, they wasn't doing so well. And let's circle back to Duke. You mentioned Duke and John Shire and how he did well. But Duke had a different machine than Syracuse has. Duke has a different following where even his first year, he struggled a little bit. It wasn't as great, but they never wavered. And then I think for him to succeed after that first year, I think they opened up more because, again, you see the Duke, you see the product, you got to remember, Krzyzewski's on the USA team. He's on the board of this, he's on the board of that. So people, when John Shire goes in there and say, oh, I'm the new Duke coach, they're still resonating with Krzyzewski going, oh, he's going to get me on the USA team, NBA, we got this, we got that. So that's different from what Syracuse has because of. So our machine is a little different, and our machine is a little frugal.
Yeah.
And I'm a Syracuse guy, you're a Syracuse guy, I'm Syracuse born, and we're spoiled, but we're also fair weather.
Yeah.
I think Adrian should have had that support. I was going one day to one of their last games. I'm walking to the Dome. I'm walking by a couple grad students, or a couple students, and they're literally going, I can't wait to get in there and start booing them. And say fire red. The game is 2 hours before the game. Mm-hmm. You already got in your mindset that he has to go. You don't even want to see what the product is yet. And then I go to practice and I watch Adrian in practice, and he comes over to me, see, I'm trying to find an identity. I'm trying to get them to do zone. I'm trying to get them to do man. I'm trying to get them to do press. I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to get these dudes to buy in. You would think the way they wanted him out, like he was just showing up for games, like he wasn't in the office. He wasn't trying to find schemes and plans. You would think he wasn't working, and that's the opposite.
He was working until the end.
He was working until the end. He was working his butt off. He was stressing. He wanted the best for these kids. He wanted the best for the university, and at some point he stopped receiving that from us.
Well, and the thing is, like, I've covered this team my entire career of 22 plus years of broadcasting and journalism and all that. And since coming back and, you know, living here as my main place, this community that I've been since 14, 15 years now that I've been back, I've never been to a Syracuse game in the last 15 years where I walked in and there was 6,000 people there. There were 6,000 people there. I've seen 30 plus this, 30 plus that. I've gone to...
I played in the 35, 40 era, so we were getting 40 in the dome.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah. It's like I go back and, like, I'm in D.C., and they're saying, congratulations, y'all are a part of a sellout crowd of 19,100, whatever. I'm like, Syracuse got that in November when they were playing a team they're supposed to beat by 30.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, 19,000 is a sellout in an NBA arena. We got 34, 35, 36,000. Keep going. Right. So to me, for me to walk in there and see 6,000 people, I was just like, yeah, something's got to change. Like that, and it was heartbreaking to me to see that. It's also heartbreaking to see how people were treated and Boeheim and F the Boeheim tree, and I don't want any other people from Syracuse. And I was like, wait a minute. If you bring in, and I'm not saying everybody, but you bring in somebody that doesn't know this program, that's an up-and-coming person, that didn't live here, that doesn't know about it here, I'm thinking they're going to come here as a stepping stone, and they'll be out. They're either going to get fired or they're going to go take a better job in their opinion. Yeah. You bring in Gerry, this is what I said to my dad. I go, are the Syracuse fans, is Syracuse University prepared to have another Boeheim-like person? Because if Gerry wins here, Gerry going to be here for 20 years. Yeah. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere if he wins.
Right. Exactly, and I agree with that. So then if you circle back to what you said, you bring in an outside source or outside coach. Let's flip the football. You brought in the Babers, who didn't buy into the Syracuse culture. And, you know, came in that first year and was, you know, looked pretty good for that first year and then wasn't good at all the next few years. So now you have to bring in a Fran Brown, who's not a Syracuse guy, but in the Syracuse area because he's from New Jersey. He knows the history of Syracuse a little bit, and he's more into pulling the Syracuse community into
the alumni.
Where Babers was push out, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to create my own wheel.
Well, how do you build something without alumni?
Exactly.
Not to interrupt you, but like I think that's the point you're making.
Yeah.
How do you build without alumni? You know, I'm sitting here talking with you know other guys from Syracuse basketball and whatnot that were saying to me in these last few years, we don't really feel that welcome.
I'll tell you for myself, I didn't. And I played with them.
Right, and that's the thing that I don't understand with Red was like, I heard from everybody, it's like, if we wanted tickets, we just, you know, we would say, hey, Jim, we're coming to the game. All right, tickets at will call. And then I hear from, you know, the players now in these last few years, they're like, yeah, I'm just not going to, like, put myself around that. And now with Gerry, I got a feeling like y'all are going to be back.
Yeah, and we should. And with whoever was here, and even with Red, it should have been that way.
Yeah.
Because
it's common sense.
It's tough to take it from him because some of us played with him. He's a part of it, so he should understand it. You know, so when we wasn't getting the feedback or the callbacks or, okay, I want to get some tickets. Oh, we can't do it this game. You're like, hold up. I played here. I put sweat in here. You telling me I can't get a ticket?
And there was 20,000 open seats.
Yeah, and I'm going, all right. So next time a game comes, I'm like, all right, I'm not, you know. And to that, we have a group chat. We all talk with each other. We all still want them to win. We all still watch. We all still going, okay, it looked good tonight. Okay, it doesn't look good tonight. Well, we were both sides of the conversation with it, where we're always orange, but we didn't feel like orange wanted us.
Yeah.
And that's hard to take.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the echoes of that for the last few years have rippled in so many different places, and it's unfortunate. But when I went down, I changed my entire schedule a couple years ago. changed my show schedule, pre-recorded, so that I could go to Gerry's press conference in Albany at Siena. I got down there, talked to his wife, met his kids, talked to his parents, talked to him, and there's all these people around him. There's media that I know, there's media that I don't know. He's got all these people. And then I said, I want to do something with Gerry. And the guy that was there at Siena, he goes, yeah, so like this guy. And he's like, yeah, I got, like, it's fine. And he's messing with me. He's showing me his phone. He's joking around me. He's like, let me take care of all this, then I got you. And I was like, wow, Gerry's still Gerry. And then I told you when I talked to him after the Siena Duke game in the NCAA tournament this year, like, I was on Zoom, and he's looking around the room, and he's like, I don't want to, like, I got to make sure I can see him. Like, the fact that he wanted to look me in my face when he answered my question over a decade later, I was like, to me, that speaks to his character, and it speaks to who he is and just the relationship that we have. Because when I went down to see him, I can tell you, there was a coach at the time that I went to see them, and I was like, oh, this person got new, and they forgot who they are. And then I went to see Gerry, and I left there with a big smile on my face. I said, he's still Gerry.
He understands the assignment. He understands it. Like, and a lot of people lose it, and they say, oh, money changes you, or your position changes you. No, it doesn't change you if you understand what got you there and who you are and who you were.
Yeah.
It's not going to change you. The people around you will change, but I'm still going to be different. So the people around Gerry changed, but Gerry was the same person of signing the autographs, looking you in the eye, talking to you, giving you an honest answer, giving you the grit, going hard with everything. I don't think that's going to ever change with him.
What do you want to say to Gerry as well as to the fan base as we step forward in the era of GMAC is back?
I would say to him, and my closing words would be yourself. Be the feisty player you were, the feisty coach you showed him you are. Trust you. Don't accept anything less. And no matter what noise you hear, we're here to support you. I know I am. I want him to do well. And that's as simple as that I can put it. Is I'm always going to be for him. If he makes a phone call to me or he never makes a phone call to me, I'm here.
Same. I would echo those sentiments. Gerry, you already know how I feel. And I believe, in closing, this is awesome, and it's poetic, and some would say it's poetry in motion. We're talking on Lawrence Moten's birthday.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because it's Lawrence's birthday and me and John's birthday is coming up too. So we all have. Yeah. So my birthday is this weekend. Which is amazing. And we came in together, so. Yeah,
so you got Lawrence, you got John, you got you, and I think there's something to that, and it's really sunny. It's really sunny on his birthday.
He's watching.
So God bless to you all. Make sure that you come be a part of what Lazarus Sims is doing here at Gamepoint Sports Complex. Look up Z360. You can find it on social media. And of course, as always, we say here, God bless, no stress, do your best. For this edition of Who's Got Next from Gamepoint, thanks to Jim Dispenza. If you want to book time, go to gamepointsports-syr.com/courts, or just go to gamepointsports-syr.com and check out everything. And Gerry, 100% of this wants you to do well.
Good luck, my brother.
Yeah, we're hoping the best for you, and we're happy you're home. Thanks, Lazarus.
All right, then.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.